Hello, welcome to TGBG, the good, the bad, the ghetto. Today's our first episode, which is kind of crazy, kind of random. And as you can see, it's titled Men, and Lisa is my name, and I am your speaker today. So, which is kind of hectic because I didn't see this one coming. But men, am I right? Considering our current political climate and everything that's going on right now, I thought it was appropriate for the first episode to be the good, the bad, and the ghetto of men. But I think in terms of the 21st century, radicalized feminism and kill all men, but not all men, but all men, I do think I don't know where I stand in this feminist movement, because when we talk about men are equal to all women and women are all equal to men, I'm 100% behind it. But then when we talk about maybe the only reason why things are going crap is because there's no women in these jobs, I don't know if I'm there yet. Like, yes, female representation 100%, like 50%, like we are 50% of the population, so we deserve 50% of the voice. But then I look at the current examples that I have of women in power and women in powerful positions, and I think, well, look at Pauline Hanson. She's a woman, she's got power, but she doesn't use her power for jack shit. But in saying all that, I do think that we as a whole need to reevaluate sort of the way in which we go about these gender arguments and the gender, not arguments, it's basic rights. I think, like, we've made this seem like this gender role thing, but it's just women deserve to be treated the same way as men, period. Like, I don't even understand why is a discussion as to why women's rights should be compromised at the sake of a man. Like, I just don't understand why it's an argument, which is the ghetto of men. But what I find is that in this, like, with all this going on, I remember the other day I was sitting and I was just thinking, like I had a cackle at this, because I was like, as if someone tells you that they've been sexually assaulted or raped or like abused, and the whole world just goes, you're a liar, like that did not happen to you. But if I told you that, like, someone robbed me, you would all like everyone who's a genuinely nice person would go and help me find whatever I've lost. Like, communities gather and help people find lost cats, lost dogs, and or a thief, or neighborhood watch. But no one ever helps. It's never the same attitude towards a rapist. Like, a rapist is a criminal and they've done something wrong, and yet it's always a doubt. And I guess it's understandable, considering some people do falsely claim rape, which I think kind of ruined it for the rest of the people who do need the help and support, because people don't really know how to react because of the so many false allegations. But my question is, the people who make movies and make the girl only report rape to get something out of that man, or to send that man to jail, or in spite of the man, really broke everyone's trust issues. All those movies where it's always been no one's ever believed the girl, or the girl was doing it just to get something out of it, that really broke the trust of the world. Because I feel it all stems from how do we just as a society just we just don't believe, we just ignore it, or we just don't believe these women. And it's just it's hectic to me that we can just stand there and do that. But then on the other hand, it's hectic to me that some men can just stand there and do that and then act like nothing happened, or be shocked or angry once women report them for what they've done. I don't know. I think we all, considering that our experiences shape the people who we become, and everything. It wasn't until I realized going to a girls only school really like changes your view of the world, like completely 100%. And I don't know, I feel like going to a girls only school really shelters you, and not one time it's good in the sense of it's always like you can do it, like you're an independent woman, like, you know, you're strong, you can do it, whatever. But then it's like never once in your mind does it ever cross your mind that one day a man's just gonna tell you no. Like I just don't ever think. I think we're at a point where it's so sheltered, like girls' education, like private girls' education is so sheltered to think that you have your own little bubble, and that nothing could possibly ever happen to you because you're a strong, independent woman. That's kind of the upbringing you have, like you're strong, you're intelligent, you're smart, like you play by the rules, therefore nothing could ever happen to you. But then it's just like you never really have had to compete with a male to get something that you want. You've never had a male tell you otherwise or belittle you, like whilst you're in education, because you're surrounded by other girls. Like you're used to getting beaten down by other girls, you're used to competing with other girls, but throwing a whole another gender into the mix and getting beaten down and having to fight for that thing that you want simply because you're a girl is never ever learnt, because you're not in an environment where that can happen. And then as soon as they release you into the real world, it's just like all of a sudden you're not this strong, independent woman, this can-do woman who can do it all, because there's men who think that they are entitled, who think that they are the strong, can-do-it man who deserves it all more than you do, simply because they have a fucking dick between their legs. But that's just life. And I feel like, considering when you go to these private girls' schools, they just shelter you from that life because you never get to experience. Whereas someone who went to co-ed just like on the daily, like just has always had to compete, they are not as sheltered. Like they see it and they know. Whereas I think girls only schools provide that false sense of reality of, if I just play by the rules and be my own independent, strong woman, then like nothing will ever happen to me, which I think is just hectic. Like I do genuinely think like life as it is hectic because of this. And it wasn't up until recently where I realized how many people I know have been affected by men. As much as we can sit here and say that the Me Too movement hasn't done anything or it hasn't progressed, I could say that it has. Like it's still where it started, but it's the conversations that it's building, it's the conversations that it's starting. But in terms of people, it's just like it happened so much. I think it enabled the click, the light bulb moment to realize it happens so much more often than you think it does. And for me, that was just like a real eye opener, because when I would see the statistic 1 in 3, I would look at myself and I look at like my friends of 6, and like 2 of us here have something done to you. But then it's like, that is way, I just always thought, nah, that's way too just like generic. But like, as soon as this conversation was kind of brought to life, sort of thing, I realized that it's a lot of my friends have been affected. But then it's also, you realize yourself how prevalent this issue is, and how not talking about it is sort of just like being oblivious and being ignorant to it is not doing you any favors, because the only way it will stop is if we do talk about it. But I do think that at the end of the day, it's not the conversations we have, it's the conversations we share, and it's the conversations we start that really make the difference. And it's one thing for me to start the conversation, but it's another for the man next door to start it, or my brother or my dad, because I feel like the minute men start the conversation, rather than give excuses and diminish and excuse the conversation, is the minute that we're gonna have changes. In all seriousness, the Me Too movement is good. It's good. It's the good that we need. The gender role argument is ghetto because I don't think it should be happening. And the ignorance that we as people have for abuse and assault and harassment is bad. It's just terrible. I just don't think that in 2021 things should still be like that, and I don't think anyone else should. But on a high note, that's been the first episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ghetto. And next week's episode is coming out on Friday, and we have 2 guests next week. And I'll see you next Friday at 7:30. This has been The Good, the Bad, and the Ghetto with Lisa, TGBG official. I'll see you next Friday night, and see you later.
Hey, it's Restless Modern. Thanks for listening on RM Reach. Be sure to subscribe, follow our Spotify playlist, and hit us up on Instagram.